Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, cartoonists Steve Benson and Brian Farrington recap the year through their provocative and occasionally twisted cartoons. That's next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Eight, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. Once a year, we look back at the year's big news events through the eyes of two political cartoonists who tend to see things in a slightly skewed manner. Joining me tonight are Steve Benson of the Arizona Republic and Brian Farrington, whose cartoons can be seen in the East Valley Tribune. Good to see you both again here. Once again, we are back to share cartoons. And I ask you this every year. I'm going to ask it again. Was it a good year for cartoonists?
It's always a good year. It's always a good year when you've got like a rolling disaster in terms of the national scene. So yeah.
Good year, Brian?
Busy year. You know, every year when we go back and look at the cartoons, you forget what happened and all that. So much happened. So a busy year, like Steve said, a lot of big issues and so a lot of topics to cover.
Well, let's get to some of those topics, and we'll start with something that's topical as we speak. The CPS cases, the CPS controversy. Goodness gracious, will it ever end?
Talk about a rolling disaster. I mean, you got these 6,000 cases where, you know, the caseworkers are overloaded, and then Mr. Carter doesn't know what the hecky poo is going on, and Jan Brewer is saying, we're going to find where the bodies are buried and bury them deeper. I don't know what, that was a crazy line. I mean, what's happened here? You got overworked, agents. You've got underperforming, supervisors. Somebody's head is going to roll on this.
This particular cartoon you get any feedback on this, considering the nature of the cartoon?
I got some positive feedback. Now, once in a while I do these Jesus Christ cartoons where my editor says, "Jesus Christ, you can't run that." But in this case, we're able to do it. I mean, if Mr. Carter can't take care of things, then they'll turn it over to a professional.
Brian, CPS?
Yeah, I think Carter's going to go the way of the dinosaur on this. He's going to get cut for sure. It's proving out to be a disaster with the 6,000 cases getting stamped like they were and not investigated. It's very serious, particularly when you deal with children. And
so who's going to take care of you then?
Yeah.
Bad Santa on the rooftop. Bad Santas are just, they're cartoon fodder, aren't they? I mean, they're just, they're there for you.
Yes, and in this case, Bad Santa is pouring the 6,000 files down the chimney and then letting them burn on Christmas Eve, providing a little tinder for that. I mean, what a nightmarish, holiday for these kids.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on now. We had the Yarnell Hill fire. The Yarnell Hill fire investigation. Again, when you get to tragedies, you got to be a little bit careful, or do you?
Well, in this case, I think it's time to pay tribute to these heroic guys who were unfortunately under-equipped and didn't know where they were, and now we've got these huge lawsuits. I mean, the one that just came down, finally we got a decent lawsuit that's going to result in probably more lawsuits, and justifiably so. I mean, it's outrageous.
I mean, this is a prime example of how we handle things like this, where you get the initial tragedy, and then it's like an onion, you peel it away, and there's always other issues, and that's what happened with these lawsuits and over the compensation. And that's going to be pretty big.
And Smokey Bear there,
you're paying memorial to the fallen. It's hard to even fathom that 19 people and the way they died. That'd probably be the most horrible way to die.
Well, yeah, and then Steve, you got this the federal aid not coming to Yarnell.
Yeah, I mean, I think I can see the legalistic argument that you have to you have to meet a certain standard in terms of what you're able to fund yourself and what you need help from the government on. But I think compassion here. I think if they had erred on the side of helping us in these tight economic times, but a little spit on the ash mound.
And finally, we have the Arizona Division of Forestry out in the woods.
They were found, liable to the tunes of hundreds of thousands of dollars, and finally someone's going to pay. But the way the Forestry Division takes care of its problems is to burn their problems.
All right. Well, all right. Moving on. Let's talk about Obamacare, a very big topic. And Steve, again, when you got a baby in a crib here with a snake.
Well, all I'm doing here is I am illustrating a metaphor that is commonly used by politicians as saying, my opponent is trying to kill the baby in the crib. So I'm guilty now of drawing what that guy
And
just
doing
said.
bad impressions of
But
politicians.
the
by the way.
GOP wants to kill this in the crib. They've wanted to strangle this thing before it even was a gleam in Obama's eye. I mean, it's just ruthless.
We've returned to Bad Santa.
Well, what better way to wake up for Christmas than get cancellation letters from the insurance company? I mean, this and the crash of the website were the two will be the two things
Making it sound like
that
they
Obamacare will be remembered for.
yeah, but they didn't have their insurance program.
Well, I think the insurance companies are taking advantage of the law and sending out these letters
they're not covered,
that are claiming that they can cancel it because they have to follow the regulations and what they have to be at. Again, with the website crashing and this, and there really was a lot of call on both sides to postpone it and try to fix it. And
Time out. They want to postpone it so they can kill the baby in the crib, strangle it.
Is that
all
going to
day
be the
long.
reoccurring motif tonight? We're going to have to go back to but you've even got
yeah,
this.
and you guys
Well,
had the
you've got the
Titanic.
Band-Aid on the ship.
I know, but in this case, I mean, this was an utter unmitigated disaster. They're trying to push this thing politically to have the October 1, roll out, and it hadn't been technologically vetted, and so you've got all these various subcontractors who don't know what the other hand is doing, and it was pushed too fast, too far. But I think they'll work it out. I know that's your worst nightmare. 30 million people covered by insurance who can't afford it.
Well, no, it was originally a Republican idea. You have to give them that.
Yeah,
So,
the Heritage Foundation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All
Absolutely.
right, and there's the laptop crashing into the White House again. That's got a little bit of I thought of 9/11 when I saw this. I'm thinking, what's he thinking over there?
The website and tech issues are always a thing that have bugs and hard to work out, and it's going to be an ongoing thing. I mean, they said again this week that they made some changes, so we'll see what happens.
All right, and this week, of course, we should mention that this is being taped for broadcast throughout the next couple of weeks. Thanks for blowing that idea out of the water. You've got Democrats fleeing the president here. So
Well, you had the Obama meet with 16 Democrats saying, help us out here. I mean, we've got to go back to our constituents. Well, maybe they all wish they were in Kentucky right now, but because they're actually doing the rollout pretty good. But yeah, this is a liability, and there have been Democrats grumbling and saying, this is too politically of a hot potato.
Well, I think Obama's poll numbers reflect that overwhelmingly people are unhappy with a lot of what he's doing, and they're unhappy with what's happening with Obamacare.
Yeah, but this happened.
And one of the reasons that his poll numbers reflect that is because, and the website indicates that they should push it back, that they should rework a little bit.
They can rework it, but actually, as it gets up and rolling, and it's humming along now, and with it takes about 1 second for a call to be answered. As it is more successfully implemented, I know this is your worst nightmare. More people will be satisfied with it. Look, they had the same problem with Romney Care in Massachusetts.
real quickly, Bain waste on your cartoon. Explain, please, because that's a little subtle there now for some of our.
That was Bain was Romney's company.
Yes.
And and he's been one of the loudest callers to throw it out and restart it.
Didn't want that to slide by there without anyone seeing the Bain. We have the governor here. Interesting.
Yeah, she's this strong conservative, who says I'm not going to take, government handouts, and this is bad for the economy. And Obama's a socialist, and he was born in Kenya or whatever. But hey, expanding Medicare or Medicaid rather, she'll take it. I mean, so you got to hand it to her, that she's.
Yeah, you have to give Jannie Poo some props here that she made the right decision because, it was financially beneficial to the state of Arizona with a lot of the Fed money.
Jannie Poo.
attached. Yeah, she's everybody's favorite
You got
cheerleader governor.
You got the hots for the governor. Okay.
I love 70-year-old women. Yeah.
All right, on we move again.
Yes,
Let's
please.
go to, you kind of mentioned the poll numbers there with the Bain waste thing. Steve, you've got the poll numbers here in a different kind of venue.
Yeah. Wow. Low blood pressure. No, it's your poll numbers. I mean, he's down what? He's down where your hero Bush was. In the low 30s.
H.W. Bush, not 43. He's a
Yeah,
disaster.
But most people now think Obama. The thing that is really a challenge for Obama is most people now think he's deliberately deceptive. They don't trust him. You know, you can keep your insurance and find out that a lot of people can't. So they just don't trust him anymore, and that's a bad place to be.
Well, when he went around campaigning to promote Obamacare, and that was one of the selling points, that you can keep your insurance, and when they find out that you can, or the insurance company is sending out these letters, you're right, it does speak to his trustworthiness, and I think that's why his poll numbers reflect that.
Happy Father's Day. Explain, please. Here.
Well, yeah, I think a lot of people feel that you know, a lot of things Obama has done haven't been good for the overall country, and you know, so I think, again, going back to his poll numbers, I think
why do you have a black man in a cartoon?
I knew you were going to say that.
With a hangman's noose. Haven't you learned any kind of sensitivity over the last generation?
Yeah, but it has nothing to do
You're
with
a conservative.
that. Thank you
I'm
very
sorry.
much. Nice,
All right,
nice
let's
try.
move now on. Well, you got the president with at least the foot working up on the ankle, maybe the
Look at the
Achilles
caricature
tendon
of
in his
Obama,
mouth.
that
here.
racist caricature there.
Oh, please! I've got his mouth almost going to stick his foot in. Okay.
Right.
But yeah, well, yeah, Obama does. I don't exactly remember, to be honest with you, what exactly he said in this particular situation that put his foot in his mouth. But I'm sure that you know, he's.
And this has to do with your old age and
that,
inability to
maybe,
reflect back
well,
on what
you
you've done.
know,
It kind of says something, though, that you can't even remember if there were so many instances.
Sure.
out
All
there.
I remember is I should sign up for expanded Medicaid. That's what I did. Yeah, I should do. But yeah, there was something going on, and Obama reacted to it. Let's move on, please.
Okay. Wow. You sure it's not Medicare you should be looking into? Or is it no? If you can't beat them, enjoin them.
Yeah, this is scary. This is scary. You have some 30, maybe even 40 Republican-controlled legislative chambers across the nation that have tried in some way, form, or fashion to impede the ultimate elemental power that the people have to control their government, and that is the right to vote. When the right to vote is seriously undermined, then you've lost the country. And it seems to me like the Republicans, in the name of you know, preventing fraud, which is a boogeyman, they're actually trying to restrict minorities, older people, you know, from the young people from voting.
We don't have a cartoon from you on this, but would you like to respond to what we just heard?
No, I don't. Let's move on.
Okay.
Oh, you need to be on some kind of medication too.
We got a puzzle here, and this is kind of runs in a string of cartoons we're going to show here, with the Republican Party kind of eating its own tail here. I mean, there's a civil war going on in many respects within the party.
There is, and the demographics of this country are changing, and the Tea Party, which came in as this boisterous, you know, refreshing change, they are not fitting in with the system of government that's called bipartisanship. I mean,
Right.
Boehner's got hell breaking loose with his you know, his coalition there. And
Well, I think the I think the Republican Party has to get that in line. They have to get the extremists, and they have to get it in line. I mean, the gridlock it's been causing.
well, the Tea Party's attitude toward government is the best government is no government. We're the wrecking crew.
Right.
The more we can destroy and dysfunctionalize government, the better America will be. And that's not what people want, because eventually politics is local. And if you start impeding my ability to get services from the government.
You got Karl Rove, and you've got some Tea Partiers here, and they're both saying it's our party. Whose party is it?
Well, Karl Rove has demonstrated to the mainstream Republican satisfaction that the Tea Party is actually the skunk, you know, in the garden. And so, yeah, they're both fighting over the party. But it's interesting to see, like you say, this civil war going on.
Brian,
Well, I think that the Tea Party will lose traction over time. I don't think that they're in for it the long term. I think.
Okay. Real quickly now, we got the government shutdown, which by all accounts has hurt Republicans more than Democrats did.
Absolutely.
You've got both vehicles right there on the highway.
Well, I think that, you know, a lot of what the shutdown had to do over funding Obamacare, directly or indirectly, and I think that, and I think strategically, anytime we have a shutdown, we had this happen in '95 with Newt Gingrich. It hurt the Republican Party when he tried to do it. Ultimately, you know, it's going to hurt the Republicans if they try to do it instead of try to compromise.
And
work
that's
something
why
out.
we had a miracle happen in the last couple of days, where they came together on a moderate budget resolution that will actually stabilize the economy for a couple of years. I mean,
And
you've
Paul
got-
Ryan's one that.
Paul Ryan, yeah. So
Yeah.
he would not have been a good vice president, but he's good crunching the numbers.
Steve Bonsai, this again going back to the theme that the Republican Party is in many respects hurting itself.
Yeah, I mean, it's bent on self-destruction, and it doesn't need a battleship to plow into. Just give me an open sea.
Well, the Republican Party's evolved so much. I mean, look at the Republican Party of even Goldwater days. He was looked at as such a conservative, and today he wouldn't even, Reagan or Goldwater wouldn't even be allowed in the Republican Party.
Reagan or Goldwater, you got that right. Yeah.
Good evolution or bad evolution?
I think it's been a bad evolution because they can't get anything done.
Well, and you know, there's a lot of conversation now. How about the Dixiecrats, the Southern conservative Democrats of bygone generations have now become Republicans, and you kind of touch on this a little bit with the guy there in the stars and bars in his living room.
Yeah, well, this was drawn within the context of Obama supposedly being the Marxist wimpo that he is, actually taking it to, to the terrorists over there and bombing and droning and all that kind of thing. And why would a guy that was born in Kenya, bomb his own country? That's what I'm saying.
He almost had a New England tinge to it. Where are you from, anyway? Where was that character from, I should ask?
I'm a Texan that likes what?
All right, here we go. Let's talk about guns now. Guns, again, as with last year, guns, a very big issue. Steve, the mandatory gun buyback
I
option.
just think that it's just so insane. You're not allowing police agencies to buy back guns and destroy them. You have to put them back on the market. And complicating this is, thanks to the NRA, there's no product liability threats that are hanging over gun manufacturers. So they're just going to be recycled back, what, in the name of the Second Amendment? I mean, this is just insane, absolutely insane.
Brian?
Well, one of the things that, we definitely, guns have been such a major story this year. And on the anniversary of Sandy Hook, the guy that perpetrated that, they come out with a report that said that he was very heavily into violent video games. And I think, that's one of the things that has to be looked at.
In Japan, and I've lived there, they're very heavy into violent video games, and they kill 8 people a year with guns.
Yeah, they attacked Pearl Harbor, so there you go.
Yeah, you're living in the past like most conservatives. Okay.
Oh, wow, where did that come? Wow.
Whoa.
Okay, let's get back to another gun issue here. Talk to me about this one. This way. Did you get much of a response? Because I could see where you could get a response on something
Well,
like
you
this.
want to get responses on this, and the response that came from the NRA was so disappointing. They were silent for a week after Sandy Hook. Everyone was, anticipating they'd come up with something meaningful. And what does Lame LaPierre propose? He proposes more guns. We need to put a Foot Locker behind every teacher's desk, and bama, bama, bama. We're just going to arm ourselves to the teeth, and that's all we need. Is we just need to arm the teachers.
Well, clearly the NRA needs a new public relations department because they don't know how to respond to these things. Back when Charlton Heston was president of the NRA, he would go to these rallies right after a shooting, and it just seems like it's the wrong message to send. And I think a lot of moderate, sensible gun owners think it's crazy.
I met Charlton Heston. I invited him to speak at a cartoonist convention, and over dinner he leaned toward me.
And he grabbed your neck and said, "Get your damn dirty hands off me, you ape," right?
And he said, "Gun registration is coming." That's what he told me over dinner.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Yeah. So,
Real quickly before we
it's
get
a
off.
communist conspiracy. Charlton Heston was in on it.
I'm sorry, did I lose control of the show? I don't know. For briefly, Governor Brewer, another shot at Governor Brewer here.
There, so to speak.
Yes.
There is not a gun she doesn't like. After Gabby Giffords was shot, the legislature, devotes the state to the gun, and we have our own official gun now, whatever it is. The 45 or something. But yeah, she's doing what her puppet masters tell her to do.
All right. Before we leave guns, this one. Do you use children's bodies in a cartoon? How far do you go on something like
since
this?
children are killed, I think we should use it. This cartoon was actually drawn a year ago, and my editor says you can't run it because you've done too many on this. I said, okay, I'm going to wait for a year, and I'm going to hold you to this. And so I showed him the half-drawn cartoon last week, and he goes, "Do we really have to?" And I said, "You promised. You promised." I think that it's powerful because it shows in human terms the cost of this unregulated militia that we have out there.
Speaking of rights and regulations and so forth, NSA spying. It's interesting how that it kind of comes and goes in terms of people's attention and their curiosity. Then it goes away. Then we find out there's all sorts of surveillance, and then you draw a cartoon.
Well, you know, the NSA collects, get this, 1 billion, B as in boy, 1 billion data points a day, okay? And it's a fundamental violation of the Fourth Amendment. If you're going to start, the ACLU is arguing it's one thing to like barge into your computer or your house, but it's also unconstitutional just to collect my stuff. You just can't start collecting my stuff even if you're not going to like process.
Well, to speak to that, I mean,
You need a
especially,
warrant.
especially in America when we're obsessed with tweeting and Facebook and all this other stuff. All this information, it's worthless. I mean, they're getting all this information. You know, how can they possibly go
if
through
I
it?
had your face, I wouldn't be obsessed with it.
And what are they going to do with it? You know,
All right.
said the tweet.
Said the
twit.
yeah, yeah. All right, let's get to some general topics here. Jodi Arias trial, and I want to say that this is the first time on Arizona Horizon we have used the words Jodi followed by Arias.
I'm proud to be responsible for that.
Yeah.
You know, it was one of those big public trials that happened to be here in Phoenix.
That your wife commentated on?
Yes,
by the way?
she was a commentator for CNN. I have to publicly disclose that in Dr. Drew. Hi, honey. She, meaning Jodi Arias, you know, captivated a certain demographic of middle-aged, overweight
decaptivated.
housewives that like to eat bonbons and watch that
I was going
stupid
to say,
trial every day.
who was actually captivated by this?
Or
Nancy
decapitated.
Grace. Nancy Grace. Did you see her fat head on TV every night? I mean,
Well, it was, you know, it was this sensational.
well, it had
trial,
all the
and
makings of a great, you know,
It was
Lifetime, and it was a Lifetime movie and got great ratings. But
grisly and
it put, you know,
bloody.
it's one more notch in Phoenix Bell of becoming a major metropolitan place where we have this kind of stuff happening. We have great parks, great murder trials.
Well,
I mean,
at least we're not
say.
Florida. And in Florida, we had
That's
the Trayvon Martin case.
Yes.
And boy, this really got some big attention for
Yes,
quite a
it-
while.
Yes, it did, and I do believe that Mr. Zimmerman came to the gunfight in a bad mood. We find out now he's a perpetual domestic abuser. He had a fight that night with his wife, and his penchant is to go for the gun.
I'm not
and I
saying
do
Steve
believe-
converted me, but I have to in hindsight, that's I've changed my attitude about it. I think this guy's an unstable guy. We've seen reports he likes to wield the gun. So you know, I mean,
And I think Trayvon was racially profiled from the get-go.
well, I mean, you know,
There's all kinds of stories out there, like Trayvon was rattling doorknobs and had a hoodie and was like peeking in the windows. This is
I
all
think
comes from a
there's-
dark underbelly of don't trust African Americans.
You have your stand your ground, though.
well, I think that there's a lot of people that feel that this is a law that is necessary, that there's a lot of innocent people out there that fall under that. I think initially people thought that George Zimmerman fell under that. Now, in hindsight of some of his actions, they may not feel that way.
The trouble with the stand
But-
your ground law is that there's only one person to testify in defense of standing their ground, and that's the person that killed the other person. What's happened is homicides and so-called self-defense events have mushroomed in Florida since this law was passed.
Boston Marathon bombing. Difficult to do this one?
Well, it was the first blush, so to speak, and that was I did this cartoon the day of, and some people were disturbed by it because they wanted a tribute right away, but I wanted to deal with the shock, you know, the travesty, the gut-wrenching pain that Boston and America was feeling. So I had, you know, the Grim Reaper breaking the tape.
All right, I think we have time for one more, and that will be of Joe Arpaio. And of course, he is in the news every year, as he was this year.
Yeah, well, of course
The
he's
gift
been,
that keeps on giving,
he's
old
been
Joe.
hit by the judge for you know illegal use of his men and women deputies to racially profile. You know, they'll follow you around and then tell you to commit some minor
I mean, how
crime
long
and
can this guy
boom.
go on? Seriously, I mean, he's been what 20 years now, sheriff. It's amazing that he still gets elected. I don't know.
Before we go, and I've asked a couple of times, what kind of a response did you get? Were you worried about the response? Does the response, are you trying to convince people? Are you trying to motivate people, provoke? But what are you trying to do?
Well, I think initially you react as anybody that has an opinion about anything, and that you sort of you react by expressing that opinion in a visual way, visual metaphors. But as we work into it, we try to be creative, and there are times when we try to push and exaggerate, like silly putty. I mean, we are not literal journalists. We don't have the who, why, what, and where. We can exaggerate and take advantage of that.
Very quickly.
We do push buttons along the way when we do that.
What I like to do is I like to grab people.
Draw on your underwear. That's
Thank
one
you
of the
very
things
much.
we do.
That's,
You got 15 seconds.
I like to grab people's attention. I like to hit them in the gut, knock the wind out of their sails, and they go, whoa. And then once I got their attention, I want them to think. It's not that I'm trying to convert them or convince them. I want a reaction, and that's what we get with our cartoons.
Well, and we're going to get a reaction from this show. We always do. It's good to have
Thanks,
you
Ted.
both here. Thanks
I
for
wish I could
joining.
say the same.
That is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of 8, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.